At 3 in the morning, Yorktown Memorial Hospital looks exactly as forbidding as its reputation suggests. It is widely documented by investigators as one of the most haunted physical locations on the planet. This animated counter tracks the grim reality of the building. Over its operational history, Yorktown Memorial saw over 2,000 recorded deaths. That sheer volume of mortality feeds directly into local lore, generating thick dossiers of ghost files that document specific, recurring entities. When a team of internet investigators arrives in the dead of night, they bring a specific type of modern armor. Dressed playfully as the Scooby-Doo gang, they hide their anxiety behind internet humor, loud bravado, and a heavy arsenal of high-definition cameras. But the building immediately tests that confidence. The crew finds a door explicitly labeled with a warning not to open it, already standing wide open. Minutes later, the distinct sound of heavy metal dragging echoes down a pitch-black, massive hallway. The night becomes a direct challenge. Can modern, ironic skepticism hold up against a space defined by a century of death? The crew navigates upstairs into the medical wards. The clinical layout of these historical patient rooms remains largely intact, preserving the exact architecture where hundreds spent their final days. According to the site's files, this floor belongs to Dr. Hopkins. He was a resident surgeon here, and the lore insists his spirit becomes highly agitated by any form of unprofessional behavior. Naturally, the YouTubers lean into the joke. They set up a literal game of Operation on an abandoned surgical table, intentionally mocking the surgeon's memory in his own workspace. The response is immediate and technological. Multiple camera batteries in the room begin draining at an impossible rate, and the video feeds repeatedly cut to black without explanation. Without the cameras, the digital buffer between the investigators and the room disappears. Every shadow and sound becomes immediate, unfiltered, and impossible to ignore. Pushing into the hospital chapel, the lore shifts to the strict order of nuns who originally ran the facility. Visitors frequently report intense physical pressure, scratches, and bruises, particularly those who have tattoos, which the sisters allegedly despised. Further down the hall in the children's ward, the team tries a softer approach. They read aloud from an ancient copy of The Pokey Little Puppy, hoping to interact with the legend of a young girl who haunts the nursery. Then they capture a genuine anomaly. A photograph taken in a completely pitch-black corridor reveals a distinct glowing white sliver. There is no reflective metal, no glass, and no ambient light source in the hallway to explain what bounced the flash back at the lens. Right after the photo is taken, the physical space reacts. The ambient temperature in the room plummets by 10 degrees in seconds, while the electromagnetic field reader maxes out its sensors. The jokes completely fade. The crew realizes that the anomalous photos and failing batteries on the upper floors are merely a warm-up. The true weight of the hospital is waiting for them downstairs. The stairs lead into a different climate entirely. The air grows heavy and freezing, the concrete walls cave inward, and the absolute silence of the upper floors is replaced by a subterranean dampness. This subterranean level carries a horrific historical reality. It houses the hospital's active crematorium, where the bodies of the deceased were incinerated. But deeper in the shadows sits the true terror of Yorktown Memorial, a row of heavy, human-sized iron cages. These are leftover artifacts from the years when the building functioned as an insane asylum. The crew decides to force a confrontation. They take their most sensitive paranormal equipment, REM pods that detect proximity, and spirit boxes that scan radio frequencies, and place them directly inside the rusted floor of an empty cage. Setting blinking digital sensors inside an instrument of historical confinement creates a striking contrast. It places the modern desire for objective data collection directly inside an environment of primal terror. The isolation of the cage yields an immediate result. With absolutely no one in the room and nothing physical touching the device, the REM pod lights up solid green. Moments later, the audio equipment follows suit. Through the wall of static on the spirit box, a single, highly contextual voice breaks through with a clear command. Close. That single word breaks them. Stripped of their protective humor, the team stares at a Ouija board, outright refuses to touch it, and scrambles out of the basement in genuine panic. This diagram illustrates the mechanics of the break. When the brain is forced to process sensory deprivation, a history of trauma, and unexplainable data all at once, the logical mind simply gives way to survival instinct. The architecture of Yorktown Memorial proves a powerful point. It demonstrates that an environment steeped in decay and dread can systematically dismantle even the thickest armor of modern internet skepticism.